You probably know the feeling, sweaty, fast breathing, quick heart rate. That's a cortisol spike. It feels awful, and its imbalance is the cause of your anxiety. Rebalance Health's 3-part anxiety system helps address it at the root. Rebalance Health lozenges are natural and designed for optimal absorption, providing 24-hour relief. Live life fully without feeling like you're fighting for it. Get 50% off your first month with code CALM23 at rebalancehealth.com.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis, a podcast dedicated to the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell case. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. What's going on, everybody? Fruit Loop has been wanting to do this project for a few months now, and we finally found some time. And so we are starting the first part of a deeper look into the day that Charles Vallow was shot. And we've got a map that we have made to show the distance between the hotel to the house where Charles was shot, and then also the distances between the house and the school and the hotel and the school. It's a lot, but we have a map. We're going to show you the map in full at first. Then once that's over, we're going to break it down piece by piece. But for the most part, the map should be on the screen most of the time so that you can see where we're going when we're talking about distances. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the video part. And what you see here is an overall view of the 3 different locations that Charles was going that day. This is the hotel that Charles was at. The distance to the house where he was shot and killed is 8.8 to 9 miles with an average of 15 to 20 minutes transit time.
Depending on the route.
Right. And traffic.
Yep.
So we're going to zoom in and just show you the outside of the house. You probably have all seen it by now, but we wanted to make it fancy.
It's a lot of houses.
It's a lot of houses, yes.
Very populated area.
Yep. Nice houses, too.
Oh, yeah.
This is a gated community.
Yeah, beautiful houses.
So there's the front of the house. You can see the big garage, the small garage. And now we're going to zoom out because Charles's plan was to take JJ back to the hotel for breakfast and take him to school. So that would have been 15 minutes there.
Roughly, yep, 15 to 20.
Okay, and it's 7.2 to 9.1 miles to the school from the house.
There's another yellow dot there. That's the Burger King. I don't know if y'all remember the statement Lori made.
Yeah, she had told Charles to take him to get chicken fries.
Yep.
Here's the front of the school where JJ, the Life Academy, where JJ attended when he lived in Arizona. Kind of on a main road there.
That was an amazing school.
Yes, I worked at a school similar to that. The only difference was we did not have adults. We just had school-age kids.
I mean, they had the big pool and everything.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Everything's on that campus. So the overhead shot of JJ's school.
Yeah, like, they had like basketball courts.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the entrance to the school from the road. And you can see it right there. So we're going to zoom out. At the top of the map, you'll see, let's see, another view of the hotel. Oh, are we going there?
Yep.
Yep. So from Charles's hotel to the school, it was 3.8 to 4.4 miles, about 7 minutes. So what we're going to do is break down this timeline because it doesn't make sense with what we know about Charles, about the situation.
Yeah. So we know that Charles, here from a hotel worker, a former hotel worker, that he had been staying there, what they say, like 2 weeks possibly, prior to the day he was shot. The hotel worker stated that Charles told them that he was bringing JJ back to the hotel to eat breakfast.
Yes.
And something you read today, you said it sounded, what was it?
Yeah, it maybe seemed like the hotel worker had met JJ before or had heard of JJ, and it's probably not out of the realm of possibility if Charles had been staying there for a few weeks.
Yeah.
That at some point, JJ was in that hotel with Charles.
Yeah. And I mean, it's cool to eat breakfast at a hotel. I mean, they got all the cereal and waffles you want. So
yeah, it's just a flimsy bacon I can't handle.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I think that's important that Charles told the hotel that, because Lori and Alex had no clue he said that.
Yeah, and because it shows that he was planning on getting JJ, and we're going to break down this timeline, but you're going to see their version, Lori and Alex's version of events, doesn't really line up with just that right there, that he was going to bring JJ back to the hotel for breakfast, which understandably would take maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Just going to grab something real quick.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing today.
Yep. So he would need to leave the hotel about 7:10 because he had about a 15 to 20 minute drive, depending on traffic and depending which route he took. We have confirmed with family and people close to him that he was always on time.
Yeah, it was really that was kind of what he was known for, I guess, is always being punctual. In fact, Lori says in one of her statements that he was punctual.
Yes.
So I think that's important because it's 7:10 in the morning. You could reasonably have traffic with people going to work and stuff, but it seems like Charles may have compensated for that and adjusted his leaving time based on traffic, especially if he had been there a few weeks.
Yeah.
He probably knew what kind of traffic was to be expected.
Sure. And he knew he had things he had to get done. So
yes, he had plans later that day.
Yeah. So we think he arrived on time at 7:30. He wouldn't have had okay. Here we go. You were tongue-tied.
Oh, okay.
You were tongue-tied. Oh,
this is
man.
a runaway train now.
It's those cookies. I had those. I don't know if you've ever had them. It's the Oreo, lemon-filled Oreos. She buys these things and doesn't expect me to eat them, and they're really good.
You've been in that pantry 5 times since you've been here.
And as we speak, yeah, I'm taking a shot right now. So he would have not had time to linger.
Right.
Like he was on a tight schedule because if he takes, JJ back to the hotel and all, he didn't have time to linger at Lori's.
No, because if he would have gotten there at, let's say 7:30, 7:35, from the house back to the hotel, that's still another 15 to 20 minutes. So if he arrives at 7:30, that's going to put him getting back to the hotel maybe 7:55, maybe 8 o'clock with traffic. But then he's got a very short window there to get JJ to school. It seems like 15 minutes to eat, and then it would have put JJ at school around 8:30.
Yeah. So he would have had basically 30 minutes to eat and drive JJ to the school. We know JJ's school was only 7 minutes away from the hotel. So, I mean, that's kind of the breakdown of what he would have had to have done.
Right.
So now we're going to look at what Alex claims. So he claims he shot Charles around 20 minutes ago is what he says in his statement. The police arrive on scene at 8:36.
So with Alex's, what's the time that Alex says Charles was shot?
So when the officer asked him, Alex doesn't come out and say a particular time, but when the officer asked him, so we know the law enforcement arrived on scene at 8:36. By the time they get settled and start questioning him, we can round that off to maybe 8:40. So Alex says that it was about 20 minutes ago.
Okay, so that would have put, according to Alex, Charles was shot and killed at 8:20 a.m.
Yes.
Okay, so here's our first point. If Charles gets there 7:30, 7:35. You brought up a really good point, which is
Charles has already went to Lori and Alex, to his attorneys and said,
and also the email to Adam.
yeah, like he's told people, if I die, this is who did it.
Yeah, they're up to something.
Yeah, they're up to something. This is who did it. My personal belief, if he sees Alex's truck there, I don't think he goes in.
No.
I mean, we replayed this in both our heads and said, if I know these people are planning to kill me, would I enter the house? Would I go in?
No.
And he's on a tight schedule.
Yes.
I mean, it's like,
and to be honest, when you're separated from your spouse and you're picking up or dropping off, you don't go in and linger usually. They were in the very early stages of separation again.
yeah.
You don't go in and hang out for all what we figure is almost an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
If you go by Alex's claims.
Yes.
Which is Charles gets there. Lori says 7:40, but we're going to give Charles the benefit of the doubt and say between 7:30, 7:35 he gets there. Alex is saying he was not shot until 8:20 a.m. I don't think Charles would be sitting down having morning coffee with Lori and Alex.
No.
That's 50 minutes.
Yeah. And we know Alex called 911 at 8:30. That's when he made the 911 call. Those are definite numbers.
Right.
He called 911 at 8:30. Law enforcement arrives at 8:36.
And if you remember, Alex had told authorities he waited 10 minutes to call.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the time, he waited 10 minutes before he called 911. If he says he shot Charles at 8:20, he doesn't make the 911 call till 8:30.
Right.
I mean, I don't know about you, but 911 is used for emergencies.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure somebody laying in your living room, shot
Yeah.
is pretty much an emergency.
Right.
So now we're going to kind of look at Lori's claims in her statement. So she claims that Charles arrived around 7:35, 7:40. But she also, like you said, she states he's normally punctual. We talked about this. Everything she says is like for the other person.
Oh, yeah.
So she states that Charles says he's going to hang around for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
No. I mean, keep in mind, he's went to his attorney and said, these people are going to kill me. He had also planned to take JJ to the hotel to eat.
Right.
And he knew he had to be tight on time because JJ had to be at school by 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
He also had a meeting planned to look at a house to rent that morning.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem like he would want to sit around and hang out with Lori and Alex.
No.
And at this point, Charles already assumes that there is something going on with Chad and Lori, and he knows about her extreme beliefs. She's already threatened him to his face.
Yeah.
I have an angel that can take care of your body and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah. If you stand in my way, I will kill you. I mean,
Right.
she said those things.
Yes.
So you're going to pick up next with Lori about the school. So Lori tells Charles that the gates of the school don't open until 8:20.
Right. But the school says, no, we open at 8.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing. I've worked at a place like this, and the morning when you are getting kids with various disabilities out of cars, sometimes you have to transfer wheelchairs if they're in a chairlift. There's no way they're going to open the doors to the school at 8:20 when you have what looks to be a lot of disabled children.
Yeah. That are in walkers or wheelchairs.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes no sense what she said.
No.
We would start at about 7:30 getting kids off the bus, and school started at 8:30.
Yeah.
They would go in and eat breakfast first sometimes. That my school had a cafeteria, so we would get the kids fed. A lot of them had to be fed. But it's a time-consuming process every morning, but it runs like clockwork.
Yeah.
So 10 minutes to get that volume of, or it's children and adults inside that school that have various disabilities, I ain't buying it for a second. I don't know where she got 8:20. And apparently JJ went to the school for quite a while.
Yeah. And keep in mind, this is probably not the first time Charles has taken him to school.
No.
He knows what time it opened.
No, they both look to be pretty active. I posted a picture on our Twitter yesterday, in fact, of Lori at this school with JJ in October. It was 2017, I believe. So this is before Charles is dead. And she's dressed up in a Halloween costume, trick-or-treating with JJ at the school.
Yeah.
So I feel certain that Charles was probably involved in that school with JJ because he seemed like a very hands-on dad.
Oh, I think so too.
Definitely.
Yeah, awesome. Yep. So Lori states that she was in the house when Charles was shot. Alex states that she had already left to take JJ to school, and Charles stayed behind at the house.
Oh, that smells really rotten.
Yeah. Would you hang around with somebody who had plans to kill you?
Not necessarily. And it's just funny because we fully believe Charles was shot much earlier than what Alex states, and then they maybe tried to get their stories together. I'm sure this was planned in advance, but then when it happens, I'm sure that there's this panic moment where it's like, okay, we got to really make sure we got the story tight.
Yeah. Well, it's like Alex, when he's being interviewed by the cop on scene and he's giving a statement, the cop asked him, or the law enforcement guy, officer asked him, he's like, so what were you arguing about?
Yeah.
And this is when he asked him to get up and move because the fire truck had come in and it was loud. So he walks like 10 seconds and he's just like, silence.
He says, I don't know.
I don't know. And then the officer starts talking to him, like putting words in his head. Oh, did you say, And so, like, nobody could say what they were arguing over.
Right.
And
even,
what was said.
Yeah. Even Tylee. In her statement, she said that she couldn't say what they were arguing about.
Yeah.
And I don't think Lori ever said either.
Yeah.
So there's this huge argument that results in Charles being shot and killed. But yet the argument, nobody can recall it.
Yeah. So then Lori claims she had Charles's phone and she wouldn't give it back. We think, and I mean, I think anybody would think that she was searching for what he had on his phone.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things. Did he reach out to Tammy? Was he successful in letting her know about the speculation there was an affair? Could it be looking at life insurance stuff? Maybe because she called in the next day to try to claim that policy.
Yep. And we also know by close people to Charles that he did have some recordings on his phone of Lori threatening him.
Right. So we don't know if maybe she found those and deleted them. I don't think we know where the phone is.
Yeah.
Right now.
I think it said that she gave it back like that evening.
Oh yeah, sure. After she did all her stuff.
Exactly. And that's tampering with evidence.
Yeah, but I think they would probably be able to tell on that phone what apps were accessed and that sort of thing. I don't know for sure, but you would think with forensics, they would be able to say this app was accessed for this length of time or what. So if they have the phone, I'm sure they'll know what she was up to on it.
Yeah, and we know that they weren't the smart people with technology.
No. They showed their age with how they left a digital trail.
Yeah. So Tylee's claims, she states she was awakened at 7:50 by yelling in the hallway. Mm-hmm. There was a scuffle in the hallway that moved into the bigger room. It was that empty room with the mirrors. She kind of held the bat, didn't do anything with it. Charles tells her if she hits him with it, she would go to jail. She couldn't say what they were yelling about.
Yeah, again, it just goes back to nobody that was there could say what the lead up was to his death. Yeah. I mean, they're saying the bat.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and look, I fully believe that Tylee was coached.
Yes.
Because if you think about it, Colby said that when he came over for the pool party that night, he didn't stay long. It really made him uncomfortable. But what was it he said about Tylee?
When when she opened the door and saw him, she grabbed him and just bust out bawling. Yeah,
that's so sad because if you think about it, she really seemed like she loved her brother. And I mean, most girls do love their big brother. But it's like she wasn't allowed to show any kind of emotion maybe of what had happened that day. She's 16, but if you remember back to the documents with Joseph Ryan and the divorce documents, when the cops had to be called because there was a verbal argument, I'm not sure between who, but I think it was the guardian ad litem or whoever did the handoff. They had a company that they would that arranged the drop off and pickup so that there was a neutral party there. They stated in the notes that Tylee just was completely unfazed by the drama. And apparently it was bad enough to where people in the store noticed. And so you've got this little girl, she's getting dropped off. The adults can't handle their business in an adult way. Cops get called. And apparently she, bless her heart, she was just standing there like it was nothing. And this was when she was maybe 5.
Yeah.
She was really young. But if you think about it, I mean, there had been cops involved for a long time. She had so many strangers asking her probably very personal questions due to the allegations made against her father by her mom.
Yeah.
So we just don't know what was told to Tylee. Could it be, hey, if you tell them what really happened, they're going to take JJ? I really feel like with Tylee, there was something there where she was just scared to say what happened.
Yeah.
Because if you look on the video, even though her face is blurred out, you can tell it is super red.
Yeah.
And that's just stress.
Yep. So she eventually stuck the bat out. Charles grabbed it and she fell to the floor. She says she sees Charles take a step back, and she thinks Alex grabbed him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lori told her to go with JJ, and she ran out the door.
So at this point, when Lori tells her to go with JJ and go out the door, it's almost like Lori's indicating JJ and Tylee were in the house when Charles was shot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how that reads to me.
Yeah.
Although I think in another statement, she said JJ was already out in the car.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So none of they contradict each other.
All 3 of them.
They didn't get their story really straight together. I'll tell you that much.
No. And we know Lori and Tylee had 15 to 20 minutes in the car there and back. So
Each
that's
way.
Yeah, that's almost 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
For her to coach her.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure that's what happened.
Yeah.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
So kind of our timeline, and we talked about it, just recapping a little bit. So we do think he arrived at 7:30. He either enters the house or is persuaded to enter.
Yeah.
I'm just one that I don't think he would have went in with Alex's truck there. And was his truck there? Was it somewhere else? And then he moved it there? Like,
I don't know if he moved it there, but I mean,
I don't know.
he would have known Alex was there. That's the whole
Yeah.
point. It's a huge white truck. I mean, we'll put a picture of it on the video, but
I think it's silver, ain't it?
it looks white to me. I think it's the same truck that was in Yellowstone.
Yeah, I thought it was silver.
It's kind of
but
a, yeah, well,
silver. It looks white, but it's something like
we
that.
know I need glasses too, but it looked pretty white to me. I don't know. It was a truck.
The other thing that's really weird about this is the parking, and we're going to show one of these pictures. Excuse me. So the house has a 3-car garage. It has a little garage, and then it has a bigger garage. Okay. So there's an open space closest to the front door, and there's a little garage in front of that. Then there's Alex's truck backed in. And then in the garage is Lori's car, her SUV.
Mm-hmm.
So the garage door is up. But we know she took Charles's car when she left. So that would mean she had to get the key fob from him because it would have been in his pocket. She would have had to get the key fob and then get in the car, and drive away.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about this. She claimed at some point that he was blocking her in or something, I think maybe. But where would you park in that driveway?
I mean, it's really funny how I guess it's just something you don't even think about. I said I would have parked to the left of the truck. It was just a bigger space to where you said, well, if I'm pulling in, I'm going to pull in closest to the door.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
But if he had have pulled into the left of Alex's truck, it would have backed up Lori's claims that she was blocked in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she had to go in his pocket to get the key fob.
Yeah.
Most likely. I mean, I don't think he would have left his key out in the car.
I don't think he would have left it out there with JJ in the car.
Yeah. And we just don't know really at what point JJ was put in the car, because Lori is stating at one point that she tells Tylee to get JJ and go to the car. And this is we think this is after Charles has been killed.
Yeah. Or go check on JJ in the car. I don't think Charles would have left him in the car.
No, I don't think so either. Because if you remember, I think he was a wanderer.
Yeah.
They would have problems with him getting up in the middle of the night and wandering around. So
Tylee's statement, it says that she was trying to keep him in the car. He was trying to get out, and she had to keep him in the car. So
right, and you know how it is with kids with autism. A lot of kids are not good at just sitting and waiting.
No.
So, I mean, that could have been an issue. I just hope that JJ didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Because. I mean, who knows who saw what? We just don't know. There's literally one person now alive that witnessed all that, and that's Lori. Everybody else that was in that house is dead.
Yeah. So we know that she returned from the school, and we read statements that law enforcement had to call her to tell her to come back, because she fled the scene of a crime.
Right.
So she returned at 8:56. So she returned 20 minutes after the cop showed up.
Yeah. And so if Charles was shot, according to Alex, at 8:20, that means that you're looking at potentially 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back.
Yep.
That's 40 minutes. There's no way that time adds up in either one of their statements. So we're not saying that Lori wasn't there. What we're saying is we think Charles was shot and killed much earlier than what they're saying.
Yeah.
And maybe 7:35 to 7:40.
Yeah. I don't think he was there long at all.
No, I don't think so. I mean, because here's the thing. I don't think Alex would want to give Charles a reason to hurt him. And I'm sure Charles was a calm guy, but if he felt really threatened, I think he could have picked Alex up and spun him around and taken him.
Yeah.
Charles was really fit.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If I have a bat and you have a gun,
yeah,
I'm going home.
Exactly. I'm going out the door. I'm throwing my hands up and turning and walking away. The whole thing looks staged. The way his body is with his arms, the position of the arms. We've talked about the position of the bat.
Yeah.
And this is something that is going to be kind of part 2. We are going to try, and I don't know how soon it'll be. We're going to try to recreate this bat hit on the head, because I'm not looking at that head wound that Alex had, which was nothing to write home about. My kid could have hit me, probably could have done more damage.
Yeah.
I think that came from somebody shorter than him. If you look where the swelling is, it's almost like a half moon on the bottom.
Yep.
And so to me, what that makes me think is the most force came from below.
Yeah.
Because above, on kind of, if you do a circle around that whole area where he says Charles hit him, only the bottom part is swollen, and that makes me think the bulk of the impact came from below.
Exactly.
Which might fit with Lori whacking him in the head to say Charles did it.
Yep. Or hitting his head on something else.
So we're not gonna reenact that on me or her. We have a full sized kind of dummy thing.
A dummy.
I'm sure Fruit Loop would love to hit me in the head with a bat. But.
No, I'm good. I'm good. In closing this out, the one thing that I think sums up the whole thing is Charles went to pick up JJ to go eat breakfast and to take him to school.
And to go look for a house to rent. So that is just an indication to me that he wanted to be closer to JJ.
Yeah, and it makes no sense. And remember, too, by the time, so we said she had about 40 minutes total there and back. Remember, too, he had to have breakfast.
Yes.
So there's more time.
Right.
And we do have the little Burger King logo on the map that we'll show you or whatever.
But, the one thing that we were told also by somebody close to this is that there was never any gunshot residue tests done on any of them.
How is that not protocol?
And
I am a full law enforcement supporter. Like, I don't get into all that. And I think, we do have issues or whatever, but they dropped the ball. Like,
Oh, yeah.
how do you not
Nothing.
do gunshot residue?
I'm curious. Did they even get fingerprints off the bat? Because that's going to let us know. Did Tylee have the baseball bat at some point? And did Charles have the baseball bat at some point? Did Alex have the base? We just don't know. But I'm just curious. Did they get fingerprints to prove that the bat was ever even an issue?
Yeah. I mean, we know it's Tylee's bat, so her fingerprint should be on it.
Right.
But if they're grappling and all that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes no sense. And
will this come out in trial?
I think it may. I mean, yeah, I think it has to if this goes to trial. We don't know. I mean, we know charges are sort of imminent at some point. 4 to 6 months. But I mean, I think it's going to be really hard for them to come up with these gaps because there was not enough done at the scene the day of. It's kind of like Tammy Daybell. You know, you wait until things are kind of tucked away and she's buried to bring her back up and then try to find answers. You've lost time and evidence waiting.
Yeah.
And if they had done this in July, maybe we wouldn't even be here today.
Exactly.
And I'm not blaming. No, I am blaming because when, for whatever reason, this was just sort of okay, we trust you. Had they done like a basic background check on Alex, they would have found he attacked Joseph Ryan and served time for it. That is like your biggest red flag.
Well, I mean, when you enter his name in the system, it's going to come up.
Not to mention the fact that she's leaning on the car like she doesn't have a care in the world and she's smiling and laughing. I mean, how is that not the biggest red flag?
Yeah.
It
just all
stinks to high heaven. So we just really hope that whatever they're doing now, they're doing it right for Charles's family, for all of his kids, everybody that was close to him, because man, for them, they've had to go over a year now just thinking that their dad was murdered and the killer, he's dead now.
Yeah.
He got away with it.
And who helped set it up.
Right. She's not dead. So let's max charge her. But you think about, if that were our dad and somebody said, oh yeah, well, self-defense, and your dad and this didn't happen the way they say it did. This had to have been a super hard year for those kids.
Yeah.
I mean, on top of everything else.
Yeah. And you can go back and look. I mean, the cops from the get-go said, yeah, this looks odd. Yeah. Everything was odd. The one detective said the ride back to the house in the van was like they had just, went to the mall or something. I don't know what he said, but it was something.
He just said that it was as if maybe he was, taking them back home from not a murder.
Yeah.
I mean, there's signs everywhere and it's just
But
amazing.
How do you get from July to where we ended up? Like, how do you go that many months? And I mean, we know possibly Tylee was killed in September. So how do you go July, August into September without any kind of investigation?
Yeah. I mean, it was just tucked away. Now, whether it's just incompetence or other reasons, I don't know. But I mean, it's just sad because it's lost justice. Alex could have very well been arrested that day for murder, and Alex would be behind bars. We would never have heard of Tylee and JJ because Lori would have been implicated right along with Alex. Those two would have been locked up.
Yep.
So to think back at what transpired because of what seems like really negligent investigations, I wouldn't be surprised at some point if there aren't wrongful death lawsuits or something. I don't know, but
yeah,
it's just the ball was dropped.
Yeah, and it's sad that all Charles was doing was going to get his son to take him to eat breakfast and take him to school.
Yeah, well, they the fact that they threw a pool party and then the next day she calls to try to get her $1 million. It's pretty clear.
Yeah.
It's clear this was not self-defense. Yeah. I mean, I've never thought for a second it was self-defense, but every statement almost individually are conflicting.
Yeah, but it's almost like that law enforcement just assumed it was self-defense from the get-go.
Yeah, and you can't do that.
Yeah, and the questioning with the officer, All that stuff. Like it's just like they assume, oh, it was self-defense because he said it was.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's probably scary if you think back in the history of everything. How many times have killers gotten away because they're just either you've got cops that aren't doing their job, or you've got somebody like Lori who's proficient in convincing people what they see is not what they see, and then she kind of makes her own narrative.
Yeah.
There's a lot playing there, and it's just a lot of deception and a lot of lies. And unfortunately, there's 4 people dead.
Yeah.
Because they were good at that stuff.
But you hear it every time when she talks to law enforcement. You hear it every time.
Oh, yeah.
In her voice. Just.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She gets a very high-pitched, it's almost like she's demanding that they believe her.
Yeah.
If she's really trying to convince somebody, if you're in an argument with somebody almost, I think you yell because you want to be heard and you want to be, considered valid.
Yeah.
Every time that she has talked to law enforcement that we, she didn't do it so much when Charles was shot. She's kept her voice down a bit. But, in the other footage from Gilbert with Melanie Gibbon there, I mean, that's when you see Tylee sort of waving her hand like, calm down.
Yeah, she gets this like schoolgirl attitude.
Oh, yeah, she does. It's almost like she turns into a Valley girl.
Yeah, it's like at the scene, she says the law enforcement officer asked her, how long have you lived here? And she was like, 3 weeks. That's my neighbors. Hi, neighbor. I'm
Sorry,
like, hi,
neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's sickening.
How funny was it, though? I'm just going to say this. That woman that lived next door, she totally didn't need to take her trash out at that time. She was a nosy Nancy.
Yeah. And another guy walked up at one point, too, coming from the other direction.
It's just funny.
He was like, do you need any help?
Well, that woman on the video, if I was glad there was nothing in her way because she had her head turned towards the action. I was like, she's going to run into something.
She's going to fall.
Yeah. But, we, somebody has reached out to us and told us that somebody in that neighborhood turned over a doorbell cam that shows arrival times and departure times. So that would probably help establish a more solid timeline.
Yeah.
At least of when she left or when Charles arrived.
Yeah. And you also have, if she did stop to eat, the school's going to know what time he got to school.
Right.
All those things. The hotel's going to know when Charles left to go.
Right. Because I'm going to tell you, if JJ was at school at 8:30, according to Lori and Alex, there's no way Charles was shot at that time.
Nope.
With everything she said that came after with sending Tylee out to the car, Tally's having to keep JJ in the car calm. Yeah. That you're looking at 10 minutes from the time he was shot to the time that Lori would have had him at school.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fit. We think 7:35 to 7:40. As soon as he got there, he's dead.
Yeah. So I'm going to use this Southern term, and you Northerners and other people may not understand this word, but this is all a bunch of hogwash. That's all it is.
Yep, it is hogwash.
Yep, that's exactly right.
It's just so blaringly obvious. It's kind of like, it reminds me of a really bad episode of Reno 911, where it's just like the cops that are kind of crazy, and it's a parody. But it's like, to me, if I didn't know anything about this case and you kind of showed me this timeline, I would look at it and say, I don't see how this works.
Yeah.
Not at all. I mean, and then you've got a ton of people at that house that are investigating the shooting.
Yeah.
So the next thing that we want to do, like we said, is maybe do that little reenactment of and what I'm going to do is we're maybe going to put something on the bat that leaves color, because we want to try from different angles and see if we can recreate that swelling on the bottom. It has to come from somebody about Lori's height. If Charles had hit him with the bat, Alex would be dead.
Yeah.
And also, we know that Charles, when he played baseball, we were told by somebody close to him that he batted left-handed but wrote right-handed.
He's ambidextrous, but he writes. He normally writes right-handed and pitches left-handed.
So we don't know if he batted left or right. Like, you're right-handed, but you bat left.
Yep.
So if he batted left, if where he is, Alex would have been hit on the opposite side of the head if he's a left-handed batter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
because of where he fell. There's no way he would have hit Alex and then walked over and then laid out where he did,
Yeah.
he would have been hit on the left side of the back of his head.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to use Kay and Larry's term here and just ambush. That's all it was.
Well, Lori used that statement to the police.
She did, about him.
Yeah.
And again, everything she says is it's about her.
Yes.
It's about her.
She's a professional victim.
Yeah.
I don't think, I'd be surprised if that woman ever said she was wrong in her adult life.
No, I don't. She enjoys arguing. She enjoys court. And she enjoys being right.
Yeah. It's just amazing, though. I guess you're good. She's good at what she does because, people just talked about how she was a good person, seemingly. We know behind the scenes, especially after all that stuff with Joseph Ryan came out, she was anything but a good mom. But the facade that she gave in public at church or in the group she was in or to her friend April Raymond in Hawaii, everybody you talk to is just kind of like, whoa, how are we here? They're just really good liars.
Yeah.
And
it's one of those things, what you see on the outside is not what's on the inside.
No, it's pretty dark and ugly on the inside.
Yep.
And that's why they're probably going to spend the rest of their lives behind bars where they should be, away from society and anybody else that they could hurt.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, guys, we have taken up 40 minutes of your Sunday. This is cut into 40 minutes of your nap time.
Yeah. We got my kids start virtual school tomorrow, so I've got to get them all ready. It's been 5 months since we've had a school night, so you guys wish me luck on this one.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I'm coming over to film this.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I'll do commentary. I'll keep y'all updated. We'll just do a live podcast while she's getting all her youngins up.
Y'all might call DSS on me because there might be some threats involved.
No, they'll get up quick. They ain't got a choice. They got that.
Exactly.
They got to be on the computer. So.
Yep. I can see my son. School starts 8:30. 8:28. He sits up, throws on a shirt, brushes his hair, and ready to go.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like our schools here, like they can't be in their pajamas.
Yeah.
Like they gotta be
enforcing that.
Yeah, the school district said they had to be in normal clothing.
They're going to have more problems with kids like getting up and going to their pantries and munching on stuff in the middle of class. I don't think pajama bottoms are going to be the big deal. Like my kids are like, I'm not going to have a full body shot of me at home. It's going to be from the neck up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're going to work on this second part for you guys. We're thinking of doing 2 or 3 parts on this. This is just the first part. Like I said, Fruit Loop has, since I think she had a good grip on the case and really was able to dive into the facts, she has always said, this makes absolutely no sense. And I think you're right.
Yeah.
So anyways, all right, guys. Well, check us out on YouTube, Pretty Lies and Alibis. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the little bell. You'll know every time we upload a new video. Twitter, Pretty Lies Alibi. We're on Facebook. So follow us around. We try to post some kind of older pictures during the week that we find on our little deep dives on this case. And we have some good articles, some good retweets from Law and Crime, Court TV, all the good places we go to look at analysis on this case. And if you have any questions, shoot them our way. And we'll probably see you guys maybe Tuesday-ish, maybe Wednesday. It depends on how the school's going.
Yeah. It may be Friday. No, I'm just kidding.
It may be, trial time in 2 years. I don't know. But no, we'll try to get one for you in the next few days. And like I said, if you have any questions or any topics you want us to cover, just drop them in the comments and we will see what you guys say.
Good night.
All right. Have a good one.
A client met his banker to discuss opening a restaurant in a busy airport. In us, he found a partner that understood the importance of reaching for the sky. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/Mac.
Attention car shoppers. Right now at South Carolina Federal Credit Union, you can get a new or used auto loan and pay nothing until 2024. And no payments for 90 days means nothing out of pocket going into the new year. Plus, we have flexible rates and terms, so you could make the best financial choice for you. Learn more at scfederal.org/autoloans. That's scfederal.org/autoloans. Certain restrictions apply. Existing South Carolina federal credit loans are excluded.